Hello, and thank you for calling the Higher Self Hotline, your direct line to the divine. You've been led here by your inner knowing, and you've arrived right on cue. I'm your host, Zoey Greco, and together we'll make the ethereal earthly, helping you consciously embody your spiritual knowing and most authentic self. Please listen carefully to the following options. To discover how to fulfill your soul's purpose, press 1. To unlock infinite abundance in life, love, and career, press 2. To heal your mind, body, and spirit, press 3. To speak with your personal spirit guides, press 0. Please hold while we connect you to your highest timeline. Hello, Divine Darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoey Greco. Thank you so much for joining me today. And boy, oh boy, are you going to love today's episode. I am thrilled to share that we have Dana and Shayna of Dayluna back here on the podcast. You know them, you love them. Most of you actually probably came over and hung out with us from the Dayluna podcast. And I am thrilled to bring them back today to join us. These two are seriously some of my absolute favorite people on the planet. Hanging out with Dana and Shayna is always such a treasure and such a joy. I never feel more myself than when I'm hanging out with these two. But in case you don't remember when they were here a couple seasons ago, let me just refresh your memory and read their little bio to you. So, Dana Stiles and Shayna Cornelius are the human design experts, best-selling authors, spiritual teachers, and podcast hosts behind Dayluna. Dayluna is a soul-centered business founded in 2019, specializing in self-purpose and conscious entrepreneurship through the lens of human design. They've worked with thousands of clients worldwide and trained many women to become readers themselves. Passionate about making human design both grounded and accessible, their offerings include personalized readings, digital tools, video courses, and trainings, alongside their best-selling book, Your Human Design. Discover your unique path and how to navigate it with purpose. I am thrilled to welcome Dana and Shayna back to the Higher Self Hotline. Let's get into it. Okay. My two human design besties, my two just everything besties. Guys, what have you been up to since the last time you were here? And I believe the last time you were here, this was still the Mystic Rebel podcast. So what have you been up to in the last couple of years for those who are not already Dayluna just lovebirds?
Yeah, well, I want to say making babies because Shayna had her daughter. She's almost 2 now, and I'm pregnant. I'm going to be due in a few weeks here, actually. So I feel like in Dayluna, we've been transforming and growing. You know, it's been over 7 years now that we've been in business, and we felt this, you know, kind of transition happening where we were refining things. We got rid of our boxes and we were leaning way more into in-person events and retreats and courses and things like that. And I feel like it's been in tandem with just our own life evolutions and growing as individuals and, you know, shedding old versions of ourselves that we were, you know, ready to let go of. So we've been in a transformative period, I feel like, for sure, but also deepening everything that we love about human design. It's always interesting for us. We're like, one day are we going to transform and be over human design? And I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think it just gets deeper and deeper into everything we do. As we grow and transform, we find new levels of human design. Like, for example, in parenting and like relationships, we're really big into that right now because it just feels like as we evolve, there's something in our work that is wanting to be explored more deeply and brought to the surface. So connection, community, coming together with babies and people in our lives. I feel like that's kind of been what Dayluna's been focused on in the last few years.
Shayna, anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, constantly checking in with what's really authentically fascinating right now. And as life evolves and, you know, new people come into our lives, but also things change in the world as we're getting closer to the new paradigm, there's just things that we've naturally been gravitating towards and always checking in with like, okay, is this system still fascinating? What within the system is needed right now and is fascinating to us? And I was saying this earlier today on an earlier podcast about how I'm constantly talking about human design and thinking about human design all the time. And it's to the point where I'm like, is this healthy? Like, I'm always like, oh, that's because you have this, or that's because you have that, or, oh, I'm doing this because of A, B, C, and D. And it's like, okay, can I ever turn that filter off? And I don't think I can, because it's so liberating to be able to see how you're living purposely, like using your gifts, and see that in other people, and allow and celebrate other people's differences in such a clear way that human design offers, and like an objective way. It's like not my opinion. It's like, this is just in your chart, and it's so fun. But of course, like, not using it as a crutch, but instead using it as like a tool that is really empowering. So yeah, I think that I'm just really enjoying getting to do that with other people that love not only the system, but just love that introspective journey that creates that liberation, right? And getting to meet in person is like my number one thing right now. Like, if I could have a retreat every single month, I would, but I would probably die of exhaustion as a projector. So I'm just yearning. I think my soul is yearning for like the compound or the retreat center, or like the place where I can live in community and like that village kind of energy, where it's not so much effort to get to connect in person and learn from one another and share in each other's gifts, right? The ability to show up and be valued as an individual, and other people getting to do the same thing, and that being supportive and symbiotic. We've gotten to see that in our little like micro doses with our retreats. And that's been so magical, but I want that now all the time. So I think that so many people are like, where's my compound with all my best friends? And yeah, like, where is it? Where is it? I'm right there.
First of all, I have been a proponent of the friend compound for years. I've been trying to get my people on the train. Right now, our two of our best friends, like couples that we're best friends with, live 2 minutes in one direction and 4 minutes in the other. So like we're building, we're getting there, but
that's amazing.
It's still, they're gonna move. It's not permanent. They're not down to clown, unfortunately, but we got them for a little while, which feels good. But you're talking about your retreats. I feel like over the last couple of years since we've had you here, you have been doing amazing things all over the world. Can you talk to me a little bit about, especially because I always find it so interesting to communicate with you guys about running Dayluna as a team, because, you know, as a solopreneur at ZGHQ, I'm the boss, right? Like anything that happens here, I get to decide. But like, you guys have to be in alignment with all the choices that you make, which I can only imagine when planning something like a retreat where you're taking people into, Egypt, is not always maybe the easiest to agree on all the little things. So I'm curious about like how the retreats kind of came about, and what about that process was, the most fun or the most interesting or the most difficult for you guys to navigate individually and as a team?
Yeah, I love this question. So one of the great things and like mystical soul contract things that Dana and I have experienced in our lives and our friendship, I mean, we've been friends for like, I don't know, since we were 17. So how long?
Time.
Almost 20 years now. And there is just this, all of her gifts, like if we look at it from a human design standpoint, all of our gifts really complement each other. We have a lot of similarities, but we have a lot of differences, and the things that she loves to do, I don't, and vice versa. And I know the qualities that she brings to, like our co-creations and vice versa. So it really is so natural and easy for us to create something together, which has been just such a blessing in general in life. But I'll say that creating retreats, the first one was scary as hell, right? Like doing Costa Rica, our human design reader training, is the first live event that we'd really ever done, other than like cacao ceremonies and sound baths and stuff like that. But like a 10-day retreat in a foreign country, bringing 35 women there. And it was just a huge undertaking, a huge responsibility. And to be able to hold that space, like hold a container for 35 people, but also keep them safe in a foreign country, and for people who maybe have never traveled before or been out of the country or been in a space where they don't know anyone at all. Like they literally don't know, like they didn't come there with a friend, right? Like there's just so much vulnerability that takes place there. Sorry, my dog's romping around here. There's so much vulnerability that takes place there. And to be able to hold that space, it is a labor of love, but it is also like the best and most rewarding thing possible. So the first retreat was super scary because we just never had done it before. And I remember like months leading up to that retreat, literally I couldn't sleep at night. Like I had just gotten married and I was like, why the fuck did we plan a retreat the same year that I got married and I had to plan a whole wedding? And like you're constantly thinking about that. And then it was the same thing for this retreat where I was like thinking about every single detail and how's it going to play out and like up all night, like, oh my gosh, what do they expect? Are they going to want this or that?
And it is similar because you have plated meals and flowers and candles, like similar to a wedding. There's an aspect that is.
But it's a multi-day event. Yeah.
And people spending so much money to go and like, you know, not wanting to let them down and them having their own expectations of like, I feel like with a wedding, it's like they know they're coming for whatever event, or maybe it's just like surface level, like they're going to get a meal, they're going to like, you know, dance. But when it's a spiritual retreat, like they're wanting like a transformational experience. Like they're wanting to have healing and to evolve. They're wanting to maybe use these skills in their business and make money from the things that they learn at this retreat. And so there's all of these other pressures that are on retreat containers, especially the ones that we hold, of really wanting to deeply and fully support people with what they need. And they're coming to these retreats because they need that community. They need to feel seen, but also get stretched out of their comfort zone and like you providing stuff to them that they didn't even know that they needed, right? So there's all these dynamics at play when it comes to in-person events, which I fucking love. And at the time, I was like, what the fuck did we do? This is so intense. We're never doing this again. I remember like as the retreat was going on, it literally felt like a marathon because it was 10 days and we were teaching everything in the human design system. So they were long days of teaching. And at the end, I literally said to Dana, like, we are never doing this again. Like that was so exhausting. It was amazing and magical, but like, holy fuck. And we literally slept for like 2 months after that. And then, of course, the little inklings were coming like, oh, what's our next retreat going to be? I do want to gather again. That was magical. And that led to our Bali retreat, which was honestly my favorite retreat we've had. And then, because it was just so powerful and spiritual and
the
magical.
Land is such a special land. Like the island of Bali is so incredible. Special place.
And so after Bali, then we had Mexico and then we had Egypt, which was like a 14-day journey expedition through Egypt, which was really a lot of details to navigate and plan. And then we just had Palm Springs. So all of that to say, it feels incredibly easy to plan a retreat together, to really plan any details together because we have such complementary gifts with one another and we really love the other person to take the lead where it feels natural. So that all comes together really beautifully. And at this point, we get this message a lot, like people who attend our retreats, like, you guys make it look so easy. So many people want to do retreats after they come to our retreats or just seeing our retreats online. They're like, I want to do retreats. And then they do one and they're like, oh my God, that was so hard. Like that was insane to have to hold that amount of space and think about every single detail and every transition and every like, well, when we do this, then we're going to want to do that. And then they're going to need this and all of those details. We love it. And it comes so naturally to us, our 2-4 energy. So I think we're always going to be doing them and it does feel really easy, but it is like really draining. And that's something as a projector that is different from like the other types, like generators and mangens. It's like, I love this. I could do this all fucking day. And I have just energy to
You
pour and
literally
give.
generate energy when you're doing what you love. And for us
Yes.
as projectors, not the same.
Yeah, it's like I love this and I
Wow.
have zero energy to do it. And so that's the only limiting thing. I think that maybe we'll get to a place where we trust other people to like build it out. And we just come in and like do our thing. But for right now, it is like a year crafting of like calling in the intention and really sitting with the energy and then finding the right location and the right place that's going to really hold that space well, and then weaving it all together and bringing all the magic in. It's been about once a year, but yeah, I'm so here for it. But we do gather monthly in our Human Design Besties membership, which we do ceremonies there. And so that does kind of scratch that itch of like getting to gather in community and really drop in with one another and share. But in person, there's just something about it that's like, where's my retreat center? Like where are all the billionaires that are like building huge like
these
community
healing
spaces that are
centers,
like
eco
healing
village.
but not like corporate greed healing. Yeah. I'm ready for that. So
And to answer
Yeah.
your question about like working together in partnership, it's really interesting. There's a lot of things in our journeys answering the call to create Dayluna that has surprised us. Like there's been a lot of different things. It's like, I wasn't ever intending on being a duo. And when I met Shayna, I never knew that we would be like a duo in our business. Like it just happens naturally. And then in hindsight or retrospect, it's really cool to be like, wow, this was a part of our destiny to be a partnership, to be a duo. And we never knew that. But on the other hand, it makes so much sense. And it's really interesting. Like I say a lot, like, the idea of a soulmate energy in your life, when it's aligned like that, there is just this naturalness where you're better together than if you were separate. So I definitely feel that way with Shayna. And I will also say that sometimes it is, there's two of us having our own separate lives. We both are married. Now we're both going to be moms. You do have to create patience and allowance for the other person's journey. And if something's important to Shayna, then it has to be important to me, period. Even if it's her needing rest, or if it's her needing more time, or if it's her needing to vent. Like we literally, before we work, sometimes it's like, we can't get to work because I need to vent. It's like, great, let's pause everything. Let's let you do that for whoever it is that day. And for us, it's like, it is productive in a partnership that's going to be authentic and long-term and sustainable. The individual needs are important. And sometimes you're on different pages where one person is happy and chilling and easy, and the other person's like really going through an up level and they need to vent a lot. And so while our relationship and our co-creation has been really natural, and I feel like very destined, I also feel like we put in a lot of effort and intention to just hold space for each other as individuals. And we have to do that in order to be able to serve our business. Like before we can get to work, before we can get to planning, before we can make decisions, we have to just like make sure that we're supporting each other as individuals, because ultimately like we're the ones that show up to serve Dayluna. And if we're not at full capacity, then we can't make aligned decisions, or we can't pour our full energy into what we're doing.
Your husbands are so lucky because you have a primary partnership with another conscious woman.
Yeah.
Like you really have to show up for another woman, which is a totally different type of attentiveness and love and care. Like you've probably learned so much through the relationship that you have with each other that you've brought into your marriages and your relationships, and that you're also going to bring into motherhood, that you bring to the relationship you have with your daughters, which is like so amazing. And I am curious, like, as you've evolved, because your timelines are a little bit different. Like Shayna, your daughter's, going on 2, which is unreal to me. Like it still feels like yesterday when I accidentally sent your gift to someone else's house. Like, do you remember I sent your baby gift to that stranger's house? Yes. That was crazy. That was a crazy time. But like to think about, now, Dana, you're like weeks, days, maybe hours, maybe today you're going to give birth. Like it's crazy. How was that for you, Dana? Like not being a mom yet and having to like understand Shayna's journey. And Shayna, what was that like for you to try and like communicate like bestie, it is not the same. Like, it's not how it was. Like, I have different needs, different schedule, different, like, what was that like for you to navigate? And do you feel like that's prepared you for Dana, for you to bring your daughter into this world?
Yeah, this is another part of Dayluna that has been like, I didn't realize how big of an influence it would be in our business creation, is becoming mothers and holding space for that and being two entrepreneurs that are both going to be mothers now. Like, I'm realizing, wow, this is a huge part of our destiny. And there are so many challenges, but ultimately, I really believe that this is part of what we're meant to experience, to be able to become better business owners and create a business that is like this new paradigm that fits in like a matriarchal, divine feminine union era. And so for Shayna, like when she got pregnant, for me, I did feel, so like I always say I have my husband and then I have my wife. And I think of these two relationships in my life as very important. I have to give and nourish and tend to both, like as if each of them are their own unique garden in my life. So when Shayna got pregnant, it was like, we're both like in this together. Like I felt like, okay, what is my job in this? And what am I working on? And so I took it like so personally for me, for, you know, my own journey. It's like Shayna's having a baby. Like I probably talked about Shayna having a baby more than I talked about myself having a baby.
I think that's true.
And probably vice versa too. But yeah, for me, it was like a huge unknown. Like, can we transition our business into really allowing you to have the space that you need to be a mom and to go through this journey? And the first time that we did it with her, it felt a little more to me like, okay, we're going to have to figure it out. Like, I don't have a lot of examples in my life of women who are entrepreneurs and who are mothers and who live a lifestyle that is really aligned with their true energy and their true desires, because it's just so rare to see that. So honestly, seeing her navigate everything and the strength that she had and the way that we were able to always just keep moving forward with what's aligned for us, like even through the complete unknown, having zero examples in our lives, it really was a super expansive thing for me. And I feel like it's lessons that we're still learning. But yeah, it was definitely like a huge up level for Dayluna, was going through like this personal up level for Shayna. But yeah, I'm curious, Shayna, how did it feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to what a lot of us, you know, all of us born in this time are navigating, is that there is no playbook. Like, whether you're a millennial, whether you're a woman in this time, whether you're a person of color, whether you're just a conscious, like aware being, like if you're alive right now, like so much is changing.
There's
and
not
it's
a rule
not
for you to follow. There's not a plan in sight. Like, you were on your own to figure it out, which is an amazing opportunity.
And especially if you have like a passion or a vision or something that you're really, like a mission that you feel is what your soul came here to do, there is no playbook or rules or people who have done it in a way that you're going to do it. And that's maybe always been true, but I feel like it's so intensified right now, especially, as female entrepreneurs having children. I think that what I've really been modeled or like taught in our collective conditioning is like, you either are like super mom and you do it all, and super business owner and you do it all, and like you're boss babe, freaking like queen at home and queen in the office, like, or you just choose one or the other, or like one has to be sacrificed and like you always feel torn and you don't know who you are and like blah, blah, blah. And so I think that it's been, I mean, all of Dayluna, building Dayluna has been day by day, what is my strategy and authority telling me? And then holding that space for the other person, for Dana, or for Dana holding it for me, and making sure that everything that we show up to, we are authentic. Like literally, like Dana was saying, we check in every day and we're like, do you feel up for this right now? Like, or do not? And then it just naturally flows, because if we're going to create content from a place of misalignment, it's going to have that energetic frequency that then other people connect with, and they're getting this like unaligned frequency underneath it, like this undertone, or it's not going to be as successful, or it's not going to actually help people in the way that it's meant to. Like misalignment begets misalignment. It's like this ripple effect. And same thing with alignment, right? It creates this aligned frequency for other people to heal and recalibrate their own system in their life, whether you meant to do that or not. So we really live in integrity with that as much as we possibly can. And because of that, I felt in my pregnancy journey, and even like now having a baby, that it's been so healing, because some days are just really hard. Like some days you just wake up and you're like, or you don't even wake up. You've been up all night. Like you literally haven't gone to bed since the day before's night. And it's like, no, I can't do this meeting today. I can't record this thing today. I can't work on this at all. Like, or my child is sick, or I have, whatever. And in our conditioned life, it's like, well, you got to put your child in daycare or get the nanny or like miss out on the thing. And while I do have daycare and I do have a nanny and I love that, not having to do it if it's not aligned for me that day, that's the freedom that I haven't seen modeled anywhere. To be able to truly say like, yeah, I said I was going to do this thing, or yeah, it's on the calendar, or yeah, this was my intention when I sat with this a month ago. But like today in this moment, it feels like I'm forcing, or it feels like swimming upstream. Like
swimming uphill is also very fucking hard.
Really hard.
Exactly.
In fact, some might say impossible.
Yeah, exactly. So it is knowing like
been there.
That's been healing. The permission that I had to grant myself, that we've had to grant ourselves. And so many people, like business coaches or, parents or whatever, like will say, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not going to be successful. You're not going to can't even tell you how many people just totally write off our business acumen, if you will.
Totally.
But, and are
like,
shocked.
especially
like
people in our lives, like our neighbors and like, people we meet I want to say in the muggle world.
Or like old college friends, or like,
true.
uncles or
I'm actually
cousins.
so disgusted right now. Like my face is saying it all. I'm literally just like, that was my natural reaction.
I can't accept that.
I can't even, like, I remember at my wedding, like, one of my husband's best men, like, was saying, like he said something that was like, yeah, in Shayna's business, like it is a miracle, like what she's been able to accomplish with this. And I remember thinking like, wow, that was a compliment. But at the same time, like it speaks to the fact of like, you really thought I couldn't do this, like, and the fact that I have breaking all of the rules, just literally following my strategy and authority. It's not, I don't think it's changed that person and their beliefs of like maybe other people that come across their path that are doing it differently. But it speaks to like our collective conditioning of that you have to follow certain rules and do things a certain way, or else you're not going to have success. And that success has to look very rigid or whatever. And if anything, we've proven to ourselves that we can do whatever the fuck we want, and we're so supported and we're so guided, and it's always right in divine timing. And like, you don't have to micromanage everything. You can literally just like show up and be like, what's authentic today in this moment? And that's going to be the thing that guides you. And that, off my soapbox, my last thing I'll say is that's what I think a lot of people miss, is that they think that the change that they want, or like the power that they want, or the dream that they want is like so like down the road or outside of them. And it's like the power of this present moment. It's so funny. You reflected this back to me in our podcast on my show. It's like the power of this present moment is all you need, like right now in this moment. And we totally dismiss it.
I'm so interested in this actually, because so in numerology is my modality of choice. And in numerology, when you get married, your numerology changes because you take a new name. So like your name also affects your numerology for certain parts of your chart. The other thing that happens is at certain ages, we enter like kind of transits, almost the way you do in astrology a little bit. And I'm so curious if there's parts of your charts that you felt were more activated or more apparent to you, or that you felt were more, almost like more true, that you were able to really see in these major life transitions, whether it was getting married or starting the business or motherhood. Like, has motherhood shown you, like, it's so fun to have this conversation in this moment where like Shayna is a mom, Dana is like, the portal is still opening for you. Literally, like your own portal in your body is like opening. Like,
like my pelvis is opening.
Literally your pelvic portal, literally. So it's like, it's such a fun, like, I want to revisit this conversation even just, you know, a couple months down the line when it feels right for you, to kind of explore like what your answer would be to this. Like, I want this to be like a living time capsule almost. Cause like, I'm not sure if you have the answer right now in this moment, Dana, but like even the portal of pregnancy, like I'm so curious if these like major milestones revealed to you deeper truths or like deeper alignment about your, you know, your human design than you were able to previously see as a different version or iteration of yourself.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. Like the pregnancy journey is so physical. It's also very spiritual, and don't even get me started. Like I could go on forever, and I do, but like one of my favorite things about my pregnancy journey is I've been working with a midwife, and every time I go see her, she takes this measurement called a fundal measurement, where she's measuring the top of your pubic bone up to the top of your cervix, and whatever centimeters that is the exact amount of weeks you are pregnant. So I went on this whole thing about like sacred geometry and the way that the baby like grows in this perfect divine alignment. And it reminds me of like how we have the golden ratio in our body, how our eyes are like the 2/3 perfect golden ratio between each other. And we have all of like, there's this idea of life being so cosmic and so divinely intelligent. And as a woman holding a womb, I feel like you have this like miraculous miracle happening inside of you that is so awe-inspiring and literally like wonderful, that part of my journey has helped me let go of a lot of the fears that I was holding on to about motherhood moving into it. Like, I feel like moving into parenthood, I was thinking about all of the practicalities about, do I have enough space in my house? And I'm an entrepreneur, and so is my husband. And like, do we have enough money saved up? And like, how is the world going to change? And were we going to send our kid to this type of school or that type of school? And what's in my area? Like literally all the practical, like human things I was really feeling sort of weighed down by, and like sort of just maybe disappointed in like the physical world that I was bringing my child into. So becoming pregnant and connecting to this like divine, just absolute magic has helped me just let go of that shit and rise into this higher frequency of seeing life as this just miraculous celebration. And I didn't realize that I had lost sight in that in the way that I had until becoming pregnant. So that has been a really surprising part of my journey that's been so beautiful. And another part of this journey is, you know, just the fact that when you're pregnant, your body is doing this amazing physical feat that you have to surrender to. And so as a projector in human design, our greatest challenge is doing what we love without burning ourselves out, and doing it in a way that's efficient and letting it build naturally over time instead of overdoing it. And we love what we do. So like what Shayna was saying with retreats, like if we had it our way, we would have 2 retreats, 3 retreats, 4 retreats a year instead of 1. But we haven't found a way to do that authentically yet with our energy. And being pregnant, it forces you even more to be like, I literally can't. Like, I literally have to take a nap right now or we're all going down. And so it's been really interesting to have that physical, like, boundary that is almost like made for you. It's made it really easy for me to be like, I literally can't. I'm closing my laptop. And I think that that's something that we teach in human design, especially as projectors. We teach so much about like learning when enough is enough and really being in your self-theme in that instead of your not self-theme. But pregnancy has forced me to do that. So already there's been so many lessons. And I mean, I could keep going forever because I feel like it's so deep. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how actually experiencing, like meeting my daughter for the first time and going through like the newborn portal and taking maternity leave, like all of these things are really big, and they're so unknown to me, even though I witnessed Shayna going through them. Like getting to go through it myself is really exciting, but it definitely feels like entering into, the void of unknown. And it's in a really cosmic way, but definitely I'm aware that I just don't know yet how it's going to be or how it's going to feel.
Shayna, what was it like for you to cross that portal? Like when you fully entered into motherhood, because we were talking about this a little bit over on Dayluna just a little while ago. There's this death that occurs in the portal of giving life, like the you that you were before being a mother, like ceases to exist. And I walk through this journey a lot with many of my clients. It's a topic that I think we've touched on the show before. And it's definitely a topic that I navigate with, women that I work with, is this idea of like, they feel the grief building as the joy and the excitement is also building for this birthing experience. And then once that happens, then they feel the grief in tandem with the expansiveness. It's like the contraction and the expansion are happening at once. Like one self is contracting into implosion, like into like ceasing, whereas another self is expanding into life. And then there's also this expanding, like a new life into the world. And you were talking about in our previous conversation about, like the kind of openness that creates, and how that openness is also feeling a little broad, maybe a little too broad, a little uncomfortably broad. So I'm curious if you can touch on like the parts of yourself, and especially the parts of your chart perhaps that like you discovered on the other side of motherhood, and where some of those identities that you were maybe attached to before are being challenged in this new openness.
Yeah. So it's been a really interesting journey because I have so much information with my design that it's like that I've always been looking at with like a mad scientist hat of like, this means this and that means that. And then, to know myself so deeply from like a more technical lens with human design, and to feel so confident in myself. I really wasn't worried about like getting lost in motherhood, which is like a big thing that we've all been taught. And that is true for a lot of women, because I've had just such a clear connection to like my purpose and my gifts and, having Dayluna and my business and all of the things. And so going through the birth portal and on the other side of like not being the one that is in charge of my life, that has been the part that has been like the ego death of like, oh wait, I can have these dreams and visions, but now everything is different because this other person is here and they actually are the boss. They are calling the shots because every
Tiny
moment
little boss
is
baby.
literally life and death. And so the stakes are just so high. And I remember feeling like I can't do this. Like the stakes are so high that like, if I drop the ball, literally the consequence is death. Like that's crazy. And the fact that there's just zero support for women, like zero, there's actually like less than support. There's hurdles, there's roadblocks, there's things that they have to overcome unnecessarily that make it just even harder. And I feel like there's such a combination of feelings in this. One is the death of like, oh wait, I'm not in charge anymore. Like I now have to redraw all of my visions. Cause like if I can envision my family, before I have a family and kids and stuff like that, like I could picture like, living in you know, a European villa with my child, like playing in the pool with my husband. And I'm like eating and, you know, drinking an espresso martini on the couch. And there's like a fire, like, you know, like I can picture that.
Hell
like,
yeah.
wow.
I'm like, I
juicy
still
and
see it,
amazing.
babe.
I think I'm there. I think I'm there.
Right. And I'm like, okay, that I can see that for my life. But then now that my child is actually here, I'm like, okay, but hold on, like who, like she just had a blowout. Like, okay, but hold on, like she needs, like, what is she going to eat today? Because she literally threw all of her food on the ground. And if she doesn't eat, then she's not going to sleep. And if she doesn't sleep, then I don't sleep. And if I don't sleep, then I don't work tomorrow. And if I don't work tomorrow, like it's like a whole thing that you're like, and it's all coming down to the fact that she threw her fucking noodle on the floor, you know? So it's like, all of the vision like crumbles of like, I can't get to that like European villa if I literally can't sleep. And if I can't sleep, it's because she's not eating. And like, it's so ridiculous the amount, like where your power just falls away, that it almost feels like, what am I doing here? What do I want? What is the vision? So it does feel like it created this like openness of unknown of like, oh shit, I did not account for that level of realness and like lack of control. So there's that side. But then there's also the extreme rage that I wasn't expecting of like,
tell me more about that.
So
like
just
illuminated.
I was like, oh, you're angry? Tell me more.
Give it to me.
Your Aries is like, tell me, rip it out. Yeah, the rage that I wasn't expecting of like, how dare we do this to ourselves as a humankind? Like, how dare we? Like, what the fuck? How did we get here? How did we get here to where we literally put all these roadblocks in front of women, to where we have zero support for them, to where we devalue them so much when they literally, everyone that's ever here, it's literally women and their creations. That's all the humans that are on planet Earth, like literally creating life, like the power of God between our legs. And we're so devalued and unsupported, and the systems are just so set up to strip us of any possibility of being understood or seen or supported. And the rage really showed up in just such small places of like, I'm sorry, I haven't slept in literally 4 days and you want me to drive to the doctor's office? You want me to operate heavy machinery
Yes.
with an infant in the car? Like, that is like, you can't even do that. Like you wouldn't do that to a prisoner. You know what I mean? Like literally in prison, it's a form of torture to not let them sleep. And yet we're supposed to then keep a child alive. Not only that, but like love doing it. And like be grateful and never once show one inkling of like, this is hard, because then you're a bad mom. And like, what if your child hears that later? Or like, what if blah, blah, blah. And it's just like the amount of pressure without any understanding. To me, I just felt not only rage at men, but rage at women of like, how dare you not tell me this? Like, you all went through this. And so many times where I would be like, is this normal? And they'd be like, oh yeah, yep, that happens. And I'm like, how have you never talked about this? Like, how are you not screaming it from the rooftops? And it's like, well, we don't want to scare other women, or we don't want to like put our experience onto them. And it's like, once again, if you don't voice the injustices, then nothing happens. If you look the other way, then nothing changes. And so we're in this time collectively on so many different levels of unveiling things that have always existed, like we were talking about on our episode with the Epstein files. We're unveiling so many things. It's like, that has always existed. And in this journey, there's just so many places where I'm like, I'm sorry, what have we reasoned away and made acceptable, or made an expectation, or forced this to happen, be the dynamic at play? It makes absolutely zero sense. And I refuse. Like, there's a part of me that feels like, as a woman, and maybe all of my like lineage and like sacred rage coming through of just like, enough is enough. Like, I literally refuse to suck it up anymore. Like, women literally have to suck it the fuck up with everything. Even just to give birth, you have to fucking grit your teeth, suck it up, and there's no way out but through. And women are the only ones who have to go through an experience like that. Like, men do not have to suck it up and just do shit. And they say that, you know, with work, they have to, but you would have
They have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
women have to work too. Yeah. And also, like, you would be working. I saw something the other day that was like, people who say that like men sacrifice to like work and provide for the family, so the wife should be happy like sacrificing to work at home and provide for the family. It's like that, you forget that husband, that man, if he didn't have a wife and children, he would still be working and providing for himself. Like, it has nothing to do with the family or not. And so anyways, my point being, I am fucking done just having to like suck it up and be like, this is hard. Like, I just got to suck it up. This is what all women have had to do. I just have to suck it up. Like, no, like, women, I feel like women are done having to clean up the messes for everyone else. Our one place that we have no choice but to suck it up and power through is giving birth to a physical human being. And that should be a choice that they are choosing to have to go through that portal. And if they choose to do that, then that is like their one rite of passage that they can't hand that off to someone else to navigate. They have to go through it themselves. And like, that, how fucking badass is that? But don't ask me to do that now in every single fucking area of my life just because I'm able to do it in one and I've proven that I can. Like, how dare you? How dare you? Anyways, so that's the rage that I feel.
I'm literally horny right now. I'm not even joking. Like, I am turned on. I'm obsessed with this. And, you know, I wanted to have this conversation about motherhood because we don't have this conversation on my podcast because I'm not a mother, right? So it's like, I'm holding space for women differently, in a different capacity, in a different aspect of themselves. And this is something where I knew I wanted to have this conversation, but leading into the conversation about the emerging matriarchy, like, I have a lot of questions for you guys because I feel like more so than most creators in the space, and maybe it's because of the season of life that you're both in, where, you know, Shayna, you've got a 2-year-old, Dana, you have a baby on the way, and you are both women birthing women, which is like its own thing. Like, I truly, I am so grateful to every mother to a son right now, because we do need to teach men and hold men. And like, I have a million things to say about the way that patriarchy also is oppressive and damaging to men. Like, it is dangerous. Yeah. It is mutinizing to men, truly. Like, that's the only word I have for it, is it mutinizes men. And I am grateful to every woman raising a man. One of my best friends, shout out Lexi Sinfrano. I love you more than anything. You'll probably not listen to this because you don't listen to my podcast, but I want you to know, Lexi, that watching you raise your son is a privilege and a gift. But having, you know, you two who are raising women in this world, like, I can only imagine giving birth to girls and being like, oh, fuck, they're born into a world where they don't have power. Or like, they're not given the space to use their power. I feel like more so you guys than most people in the space right now are having this conversation. And it's something that I feel like we've touched on, like every topic we've discussed, and we've been hanging out for hours today, brings us back to this thread in some way. So I'm really curious, obviously from, you know, my own intuitive insight from the lens of numerology, I have a lot of thoughts about the new earth and the new paradigm and what's being created and where we're going. But I'm curious from your professional perspectives, as well as your personal perspectives, like, what do you feel is happening right now? Like, politically, socially, economically, emotionally, energetically, empathetically, like, tell me where you feel we're going and what we feel like we need to find in ourselves. Like, what's the thing in our charts we need to know that's going to help us figure out where we position ourselves in the new paradigm? Like, what do you guys see happening from here? Big open-ended question.
Yeah, this is a huge conversation specifically in the human design space. If you're not familiar, human design talks a lot about 2027, the year 2027 being this huge paradigm shift. And that's happening with the like sort of astrology that's happening on a greater global consciousness level. We are making this huge shift out of a 400-year period where we've been very focused on building structures that support our growth as communities, but it's been very connected to like the Industrial Revolution. So creating structures around our school, creating structures around our medical system, creating structures around corporate work environments. And those structures have been filled with one size fits all rules in order for every single person to have to fit themselves into the rules so that we could build and develop society. So we've been coming from that era. And now in 2027, we are moving into a very, 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 very different frequency that is all about the individual having their own empowerment. No one tells them what to do. No one puts a label on them. Nobody puts them in a box. And our lives become about being our own authority and living our uniqueness, and then finding emotional connection, spiritual oneness, being able to promote that back out into the collective and experience like unity. And so what is really important right now in the human design space is this shift that's happening. It's happening not just in a linear way, it's kind of happening all together all at once, meaning we're experiencing the crumbling of an old world as we are building a new world. It's not like on the day that it turns 2027, we're going to shift and there's going to be this new world. Like we're already in the in-between. And so a lot of us are seeing these crumblings in our structures, our political systems, our school systems, our medical systems, like literally every single system and structure that was built in this old way is crumbling. And so human design doesn't talk that much about matriarchy and patriarchy, but human design does talk a lot about leftness and rightness and also yin and yang energy. So the old world was built in what we call a leftness mindset. And you can literally think of like the left hemisphere of the brain being like very logical, being focused on one thing at a time and singling out that one linear thing and following that through line like a laser. Now, that's not inherently bad in any way. It's just a leftness or a more yang way of looking at the world is linear, structured, consistent, singular. Now, when we talk about the new paradigm shift, we're moving into an era of what we call in human design rightness or yin energy, female energy, where instead of it being about linear singularity, it's about all-encompassing receptivity. It's about feeling the totality of things. It's about absorbing in a more peripheral and open and receptive way instead of laser focusing in. So there is really this energy of letting go of an old world that was masculine, that was rigid, that prioritized consistency and linear energy above all else. And we're moving into this world where it's all about how can we receive one another? How can we take in our environment, absorb one another, reflect one another back? And it's really interesting when we talk about, matriarchal energy, or we talk about the right hemisphere of the brain, rightness in human design. That matriarchal energy is naturally accommodating to the whole. It wants wholeness. It wants circular energy. It wants integration of all. It wants acceptance of all. Whereas masculine energy tends to have this singular focus that rejects anything other than what it's focused on. So in the shadow aspect, we've seen in the patriarchy, this shadowy version of that left kind of focused energy where we point our focus on one thing and everything else doesn't matter. Everything else is invalid. Everything else is not the priority. The only priority is the one thing that we've been focused on. And honestly, it's been capitalistic linear growth. And our economy has become cancerous because we're focusing on this financial growth and we are falling to the wayside everything else that is sacred about life, everything else that's important. And so as we move into this new paradigm, we move into rightness energy, matriarchal energy, it's really interesting to see that naturally those energies include everything. It's not about leaving anything behind or not being able to support someone else because you're supporting yourself. It's about equanimity. It's about collective consciousness. It's about when I rise, you rise. It's power to instead of power over. And so we're definitely seeing those shifts happening. But what's something that's really interesting in human design is we talk a lot about like the spiritual evolution that will go on as we traverse this huge shift. And the children that are going to be born on planet Earth after 2027 carry an entire new evolved energetic frequency in their energy body from a human design standpoint, where they are completely right-facing beings. Like they literally will not understand how anyone could look at one thing and not see the totality. That won't even register to them. They're only going to be able to see everything in connection to everything. They're not going to be able to see individuality the way that we have in the old paradigm. They're going to see every person as so interconnected, sharing one consciousness. It's not going to make sense for them to take from another person or to be greedy or to put someone else down, because their consciousness is literally evolved past a point where that doesn't even make sense to them anymore. They can't go back into seeing the illusion of separateness. So it's an exciting time for us just like to see the evolution of humanity. I think it's really going to support the changes that are happening. But right now we're in this messy middle where we're watching the old things crumble. We're trying to rebuild the new things. And I absolutely think conversations like this and what Shayna was saying, it's like, we have to voice these things. We have to put them in the spotlight. We have to unveil them. That is a necessary part of dismantling them before we can build the new. So like the new paradigm is so exciting, but we're definitely still in the darkness before, the light and the unfolding.
What really interests me about what you just said is the fact that you guys are both going to be mothers to children born before 2027. Yeah. What does that mean for your children who will grow up as peers to those born after 2027? Like this is, first of all, I want you to know this is completely news to me. I have never heard this before.
Okay.
I mean, except through you guys, but this is like a concept that I don't hear a lot about. I exist in the numerology realm. I don't really get to visit the human design realm that much. And I'm so curious, like, when you guys were having children, was that a consideration? Like, should we wait till after 2027? Like, tell me more about this and how it pertains to you as mothers of children born before 2027.
Yeah. So it's really fascinating because Ra, teaches that after 2027, that all of the children born are going to have this whole new paradigm is all about expanding our spiritual awareness and our emotional awareness. It's coming from the solar plexus center, which is the newest center, and it's not fully formed yet. It's not fully developed. And so when we shift paradigms, we're shifting out of this cross of planning, which is like the overarching chapter theme that we've been in of like planning schools, government, like churches, countries, you can't sit with us, whatever, sports teams, all of that, identifying as like something outside of us as us.
Don't get me started on the sports teams.
Don't get me started on sports teams.
Yeah. But there is like, we've been in that place of like, my team is better than yours energy. And we have needed that time to build and kind of see ourselves collectively as like creating something outside of ourselves, right? And so now as we shift into this era of the individual, we're shifting into spiritual awareness, emotional awareness. We've already seen that be, weaving together and coming through as we have more emotional intelligence and even like names for emotional experiences that we've all had, like anxiety literally didn't exist when I was having panic attacks when I was in college. Yeah,
these are words we didn't know like 15 years ago, which is mind-blowing.
Insane. And even, things that we identify with, Dana's heard me say this a million times, but like with our sexuality, like I'm gay or I'm bi or I'm, ace or I'm whatever. These are all categories that we need to help us really decondition from needing a category at all, and to just instead say, like, I identify as Shayna. Like, I don't need to feel seen by being able to be in a group that helps me see myself more. And so while it is needed, it's a necessary stepping stone. Same thing with the emotional center. Like, they're a narcissist, they're now in this category, or like, I have anxiety or I have depression, I'm now in this category. It helps you see yourself. It's the necessary stepping stone that we need to get from having zero awareness about how we're different to a place where we don't even need those categories. To say, like, I have depression would be too limiting to really explain how my energy works. It would be talking more about your unique frequencies and understanding how everything's connected and how it's so much deeper than any label can give you. So when we talk about expanding that center, there's so much that we don't know because we're in this time of the stepping stone phase, right? But the children that are born after 2027, they're called rave children, and they are literally born with this emotional intelligence that we haven't seen before. And Ra even talks about this, like, in the, time between, right now, where everyone on earth is born pre-2027, and then to the place, in 100 years or maybe 200, depending on technology and how long we live, where everyone on earth has been born after 2027. In that middle time, there's going to be a lot of like confusion and labels and misunderstanding, where people might label children born after 2027 as like autistic or as, neurodivergent, or really not understanding them. And also getting to witness certain gifts that might be labeled as crazy, like telepathy or, astral projection and things that we've seen come through. Like, if you listen to the telepathy tapes, or even like this podcast, in my opinion, is astral projection, because somebody's listening to this 3 years from now and connecting with this conversation. Yeah, exactly. So we've seen like glimpses of this, like weaving together, but that there is going to be this place in the middle that we chose to incarnate in, where we don't understand these children. And so for me in my own journey, I know on a soul level that I am having another child, and I don't feel like it's my choice. I feel like it is a soul contract, like a knowing that I have, and I've just always known. And while I do not feel ready for that, or like I'm anxious to get over the sleepless nights, I know it's happening, and they will be born after 2027. So I'm going to have one child pre-2027, one child after. And Ra really talks about how the full change into the new paradigm will be when there are no people born before 2027. Yeah, and that's when the full change will take effect.
Yes.
I know.
I'm a relic of the old world.
We are. But we're also the bridge.
The old model.
I was literally just going to say we're the bridge. And I feel that so deeply. And when you were talking about this idea that like the children born 2027 and after for probably quite some time, are going to be mislabeled and misunderstood. Honestly, I feel like we're already experiencing like the aftershock, but in the past. And what I mean by that is like a ripple, like a droplet creates a ripple in every direction, right? So like we're in the past experiencing the ripple of that in the future. And talk about astral projecting.
Ooh, that's a good analogy.
I feel that. I feel like we're already experiencing this. Like women are, I would say more people than ever are self-identifying as neurodivergent. A lot of people self-diagnosing as neurodivergent, because they were undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, unsupported. And I actually feel like there are so many people that are preparing themselves to be parents to these children.
Totally.
You said they were called rave children?
Yeah. Rave children.
Like a rave. Yeah. Like they're out there. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Mike, insert laser lights here. Okay, perfect. Honestly, I feel like so many people are prepared for that. And I feel like we are seeing more so than ever this sort of like wave of recognizing special needs children and children with autism and children on the spectrum. And I think of, my cousin who is a mother to a severely autistic child. And we, for so many years, misidentified these symptoms. Like I think of my father who had, a brother who was institutionalized in the 50s and like died in an institution because of what we didn't understand. Yeah. Ooh, that's in my genetic makeup. So yeah, there's all these, I'm thinking back in time now of like the way that the ripple has been rippling in our direction. And we're at the point right now where it really is a bridge. And I think for people like you two and myself and the people listening to this episode, the people who resonate with your work, the people who resonate with my work, they are the ones that have been conscious enough to feel that effect. Like I often equate this to the way that like animals will lie down before an earthquake because they know it's coming. It's like those of us who are empathetic, those of us who are conscious, those of us who are awake are already tapped into that sense that like something is coming, and we've been trying to give it language. We've been trying to understand it. And I feel like the souls that have chosen to incarnate, especially in the last 20 years I think of, I have a 20-year-old sister, like they are some other type of thing. They're not millennials and they're Gen Z, but it's something else. Like there's some sort of wild beast that was like made in a world where like they've only known the internet.
Yeah.
They've only known the internet. They've only known the millennium. They've never known, like, remember when we thought the whole world was going to end in Y2K? Never thought of that. My assistant is 22 years old and she reminds me constantly of how fucking old I am compared to her. And I went to her 22nd birthday party. This is a true fucking story. And all of her friends, we had all smoked. I guess I smoked with a bunch of 20-year-olds. And we were saying something about how like, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name right now. Charlie Kirk, how Charlie Kirk is like our most, modern day assassination. And they all look at me all of a sudden and they go, oh my God, you were alive during 9/11. I'm like, yeah. And they were like, what was it like? And I'm like, oh my God, stop, So it's so interesting that like, the people who incarnated in the last, I would say 20 years, like they don't know the world that we knew before.
Yeah.
And that feels like it is also some sort of like delineation of like, I can't explain it, but intuitively I'm just like, there's something about those people they're going to be the parents of these children that are going to need to be understood and held in a very specific way. And believe it or not, I believe in Gen Z like pretty wildly. Like they're pretty unapologetic, pretty bold.
Totally.
And they're dealing with a world that was handed to them in dire straits. Like, at least we got to grow up during a time when it was like, America is strong and the world and democracy is good and everyone is okay and your parents love you and it's going to be all right. And like, these kids don't really get that. Like, they don't really get the Bill Clinton 90s, it's safe in this world kind of thing. They don't get it. And so they are prepared to have this experience in a totally different way. And I think this conversation is really important because those of us who were born in the 1900s, and those of us, like my listeners range in age from like, mid 20s to mid 60s. Like we're all about to find our place and our position. And what I'm really hearing from you guys is that compassion and a focus on unity and a focus on, and what I mean by unity is equality. Like, the separation is not going to serve us. We need to, like Shayna, what you were saying about there's not support for women, there's actually anti-support, there's hurdles. It felt like someone punched me right in the vagina. Like it was crazy. And it's so true. So how can we as a society and as a collective choose to identify the hurdles in front of others and remove them where we have power to do so? Like, what hurdles do I have the power to remove or how can I de-obstacleize someone else's life journey, whether it's a child or whether it's, you know, an elderly person, whomever that is. Like, this is the opportunity now to really decide who you want to be in the new world. And I think my last question for you guys would be like, where in our charts can we understand more about ourselves to figure out that piece that might help us get the answer?
I love this question so much. And honestly, this whole conversation really is about our evolution as a spiritual collective consciousness. And like this whole, what you're talking about of we experience things that uniquely make us equipped as millennials to support other people in a specific way because of our experiences, because of our conditioning of that time. And then we're talking about because of your human design chart. And like just age alone, like our community in Dayluna is also a really wide age gap. And I love it because when we are together in person in retreat, we have a woman who's 22 years old and we have a woman who's 68 years old sitting together. And we have very different things to offer each other. And we watch the 22-year-old offer a piece of wisdom that the 68-year-old is like, wow, I never saw the world like that as a woman when I was your age, and vice versa. So I think that honoring the time frame that you came in on and knowing that it gives you unique wisdom and a unique opportunity to help other people, like own your part in the evolution or own your place in the evolution and get all of the wisdom you can. Even if the wisdom is like, that's fucked and that was hard and this is not okay, that is your wisdom to share. And I feel like millennials, us having Pluto and Scorpio, a big part of what we're here to do is to call that shit out and to burn it down. And like, so that is part of your contribution, right? Like I would say, look at your Pluto gates in your human design chart and then look at what zodiac sign they're in. But you can look on your human design chart, you can look up your chart for free on our website, daylunalife.com. And then when you pull up your chart, you'll see on either side of your body graph, you have these columns, and look for the Pluto symbol. And you can see the two gates that you have on either side. Those Pluto gates will help you make the most transformation in your own life, but then ultimately it really ripples out to the collective because Pluto is truly a collective energy. So I would say look at that. There's also another thing in human design that you can look at, your channels, which are the gifts that you have that connect your centers. This is getting a bit more advanced, but you can look at which channels you have in which circuitry. So some people have a lot of individual gifts. Some people have a lot of collective gifts, and some people have a lot of, we call it tribal in human design, but it's really like your community, like the close people in your life. And by looking at those three different areas in your chart, you can see, how am I here to contribute? You know, like for you with your chart, Zoey, you have really strong individual energy where it's like this channeled through you. You feel it in and of yourself. You didn't get it from another person. You're not watching TV to get inspired. Like it came through you.
Yeah.
And also your lifestyle, because you have two channels that are in this individual realm, your lifestyle is meant to be very different and very unique. And people are meant to look towards your lifestyle as something that breaks their worldview on what's normal. Like they see your life and the way that you live it, and they're like, wow, that helps me realize that I don't have to put myself into this box. So for you, that's two ways that you're like really here to contribute with just that individual energy. And then you also have a collective channel, which this channel that you have that's in this collective energy is actually about literally channeling ideas and then being able to express them in a way that's funny and interesting and unique. But it tells you that you're here to put your voice out into the collective at large, like not just in your community of people around you. For you, it's really important to be able to like put on a microphone and be able to share this with like the entire world. Yeah. So you're doing it. But so for anyone, like those would be the places I would look, like deeper aspects of your human design chart. Look at your Pluto gates and look at which channels you have in either individual circuitry, collective circuitry, or tribal circuitry.
And I do, just for reference, want to say, like with the Pluto gates, Dane and I both have gate 1 as our Pluto gates. And this is all about creating new things. This is how we break down the old paradigm, and the structure is actually building new things. And for you, Zoey, yours are both gate 43, which is the genius freak energy, which is all about sharing your like genius ways of what's going to be better in the future. Like like the way that you weave things together. Like I saw this thing, I overheard this thing, then this thing happened and I channeled this thing. And like, this is what we need moving forward, and sharing that insight, like sharing those genius channeled insights. That's how you help dismantle the old paradigm. So it's really like powerful to look at your Pluto gates, and like you're going to be doing that your whole life. Like your Pluto gates are always going to bring the most transformation into your life. And there are a lot of lessons always around those things, but it's so fascinating to get to see. Like my daughter has gate 41 as one of her Pluto gates. And this is the dreamer, like dreaming up a better future. And it's interesting that, you know, when she gets older and is building something, like the world's going to be totally different. And her role is like motivational speaker energy, dreaming up the future and not doing the work of like building the thing, but talking about what those things are, the laws, the structures, the injustices, and motivating people to build towards making that dream a reality. So like she's obviously in the messy middle too, because it's going to take a few hundred years until we're fully in the new paradigm. But
with a bionic
so interesting to look at.
She might make it too.
That's true. We might all be here for the next few hundred years.
Well, I was going to cryogenically freeze myself, and then I was going to unfreeze Austin Powers style in a couple hundred years. So I'll be there for her. Don't worry.
Perfect.
Liquid
Come back in
warming.
like 3000.
I remember how
that was such a deep cut. Thank you for that.
You're
Guys,
welcome.
I could keep having this conversation forever, but I have kept you quite over time, and I'm sure
I know,
at
we
least
spent the
one
whole
of you
day together.
needs to pee. So I'm like, it's probably time to go. But I just want to thank you both so much from the deepest bottom of my heart. Every time that we are together, it is magical. It is expansive. It is transformative. I personally am so transformed by the time that I'm able to spend with you. It means quite literally everything to me. And I would like for the three of us to make a commitment to spend more time in each other's presence.
Please.
I feel
I
like
was
every
thinking that
time it
earlier.
happens, we're like, we need this. And then life
Yeah.
happens and we forget how much we need it. And then we do it and we're like, we know we need this. So
I agree.
Catch me on Dayluna's next retreat and catch us making our own retreat all together.
I was
And
just going to say that.
Dream life.
Well, what I actually was thinking is like, this is a real true thing. I've always been like, oh, I want to build a compound with my friends in Europe, like get like, you know, a castle and basically just like renovate it and we all live in the castle.
Yes.
And when you were talking about the Shayna, I was like, you know, I never imagined that it wouldn't be my immediate friends and community, but like, you guys are my friends and community. Like it's so possible. Like I will gladly go in on a castle with you guys in Europe.
Oh my God.
I'm not even fucking joking. Like put my name on the deed now, like signed, sealed, delivered, and I'll clean the blowouts. Like I can participate just because I'm not going to be a mom doesn't mean I can't participate. We're all going to take turns not sleeping. We're all going to take turns getting in the pool with the espresso martini. It's community, hun. It's community.
Yes.
So let's plan it, and then we'll invite everyone over to our castle. That's where we'll start hosting our retreats.
Literally. Deal.
Okay, well we're gonna play this back on the day that we actually go and sign it, and we're gonna be like, guys, guess what? Live tweeting. We're gonna be like, I don't tweet. I would
Espresso
never go
martinis
on
all
that, guys.
around when we
Exactly.
sign.
I don't drink and I don't drink coffee, but I'll drink one of those for you guys.
And I actually don't like espresso martinis, but I love how beautiful they are. So when Shayna gets them, I'm like,
There's nothing sexier and classier. Nothing.
It's
Maybe
true,
a
but
dirty
honestly-
martini with a bunch of olives on. And there's nothing hotter than that. But anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to illuminate the world and help us understand ourselves and our place in it. And I would love if you could just let people know where they find you, where can they join us, and how can they get in on the Dayluna magic.
Yes. So you can find us on our website, daylunalife.com, and on our Instagram at Dayluna. And if you're feeling called to join us in ceremony every month, you can join our Besties membership where we meet every month and we teach you about human design, but also we do ceremony and we like do energetic hygiene and we really drop in and share. It's that sense of community that is so healing that I just wish I could have every single day. It's the compound, but online. And I'm ready for it to be in person, TBH. But yeah, so you can find all of that on our website and dive in with us further, and maybe even see you in person at our next retreat, wherever that might be.
I was going to say, where is it? But we'll drop those deets. TBD, you guys. Well, there you have it, blessed babes. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. And I would love if we could take a moment to send this week's subjects some love, sweetness, and positivity as they continue to illuminate our paths forward, to help us see ourselves more clearly through human design and to know our place in the new paradigm, and some extra sweetness and love to their little baby girls, and one that is on the way. It's so exciting. Connect with me on all socials at the Zoey Greco. Also visit me at zoegreco.com. And of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important, you matter, and you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you. Your spirit guides love you. Dana and Shayna love you, and the universe loves you. So until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, friends.